Good evening, everybody. Thank you for attending tonight. We're going to get started in a couple minutes here. I'm going to give some parents some time to log on, but I see some jumping on here and there. I want to just start out by thanking you all for your time tonight. I do hope that this webinar is informative regarding the one-to-one Chromebook initiative that Avon Grove Charter School is going to be rolling out for grades 5 through 12 next year. But just to make sure that my mic is working, if you can hear me okay on your side, if you can just type something in the chat window that should be on the right side of your viewing window in YouTube Live. That way I know that my microphone is working for everybody and that I am good to proceed. Also, just as a heads up, we are on a little bit of a delay from one another tonight. We're on about a 10-second delay. So if you type something in the chat box and it takes me a couple seconds to catch up and respond to any questions, that's why we're on about a 10-second delay from one another. So again, if you are able to hear me okay and you can type a couple things, just say hello, say good evening to everybody watching so that I know that my microphone's working and we will get started. Perfect. So this evening, this is an open forum. I'm going to be going over a lot of information tonight regarding the one-to-one Chromebook initiative for Avon Grove Charter School that we're going to be rolling out for next year. I have my chat window open on the left here. I'm going to be covering a lot of information, so I hope to cover all of your questions. We're going to have a question and answer session at the end of the formal presentation slides. But again, I'm watching the chat window, so if you have any questions, feel free to type them in, and I will I'll stop and respond as I see those come through. So again, this evening we're going to be focusing on some of the particulars of the Chromebook initiative at the State Road campus for next school year. As an administrative team and the school board embarked on investigating this one-to-one computer initiative for the school, we really started with trying to ask ourselves some key questions. And these are questions that we ask the teachers often during our professional development workshops. And they're ones that we've asked ourselves as a school in trying to prepare our students for what the educational buzzwords are as 21st century learning, or what does learning look like in our schools in the 21st century, and then how are we preparing students for a world that we're not 100% sure we know what's going to look like in 10, 15, 20 years from now. So we've been asking ourselves lots of reflective questions like, how do we teach kids? Have our teaching methods evolved over the past 10 years or 20 years or 50 years when you really look at the methodology and the pedagogy of teachers in the classroom in public education? How do we integrate technology into our students' learning experience? And the key word there is integrate. I think as we go through this presentation, I always reiterate that the worst thing that we can do is give students computers without teaching them how to use them, without having our teachers leverage them in a responsible and engaging way in our classrooms. Otherwise, they become toys or paperweights. And that's not really the investment that we're trying to make as a school in the educational experience of our students. One really daunting task that we're tasked with as educators is how do we meet the differing needs of learners as well as educators. So when you have a room of 20-some students and all of them are individuals, does a one-size-fit-all instruction lesson or direct instruction or group activity or homework assignment or assessment is a one-size-fit-all model? Is that fair to a student of a group of individuals? And then how are we preparing students for the way the world actually works in the 21st century? And sometimes that answering that question really takes some soul searching and some reflection. and some humbling as adults to be honest with ourselves and look at how the world works, how we operate in the world, and then does our educational system and our classrooms and the experiences our students are having, is it modeling that? Is it preparing students for when they leave high school? Do they have an understanding of how to collaborate in the workforce, or manage their time in college, or access resources in a digital world? Are we preparing kids for that reality? So when we started to ask ourselves these questions, we kind of came up with a continuum in terms of this technology initiative of multiple steps, basically, that we're looking to implement and address over the next couple years. The first one that we're going to be talking about tonight is the one-to-one computing initiative at the State Road campus. And I'm going to touch a little bit on our rollout of a learning management system, as well as the core behind being able to prepare, especially our 5th and 6th graders, for the usage of these devices is a digital citizen initiative at the school, and being able to teach kids how to be responsible digital citizens and be safe on the internet, and how to care for the devices, and understanding social media, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And then further down the road is looking at our master schedule, what our bells look like, and how our day is structured at State Road. And then really more for our secondary grade levels is some hybrid learning opportunities and some flexible learning opportunities for kids. So when I'm talking about the one-to-one computing initiative, some of the program goals, what we're really trying to aim to accomplish through this program, first and foremost, is increasing and providing equal access to technology among our students. Some students don't have computers at home, or access to computers at home, or access to the internet. Some classrooms have unequal access. If there's a cart in one classroom and not in another, it's sometimes difficult for that other teacher to be able to reserve the Chromebooks or reserve computer lab space to be able to provide kids an engaging learning experience and sort of equal access. We're looking to try to promote student engagement and enthusiasm for learning, providing access to digital content, encouraging a customized learning approach, and then jumping down to differentiating and individualized learning. That goes back to what I said before of when you have 20-some students in a room, is a one-size-fit-all model really appropriate, or can we do more with some of the technological tools that are available to us to customize and individualize a student's educational experience while still being part of a larger group classroom environment? We're looking to encourage and really teach kids communication and collaboration skills, but increase that between students, teachers, and parents. Provide students an opportunity to connect their learning in a meaningful and purposeful way. That's really key and speaks to, preparing kids for how the world really works. Part of this initiative is going to be establishing a sense of ownership and responsibility, particularly for the devices themselves. As I go through this presentation tonight, one of the key elements of this is that every student's going to be individually assigned a particular asset tag device that's going to be theirs and going to travel with them year to year. So that device is essentially, while it's still the property of the school, will be that your student, not that student, but your student's own device. And we want to be able to teach them how to care for it, how to have a sense of pride, how to learn responsible care, responsible usage. We also pride ourselves that we're environmentally friendly and green school, but we still do print a lot of copies and paper copies A lot of the curriculum that we purchase right now, while we are receiving hard copy textbooks, also have digital content available that we believe we can make better use of with increased access to the Chromebook devices. And we are in again a digital age, so being able to, in strategic areas, reduce the use of print textbooks or workbooks or worksheets, and be able to go more paperless in our environment is a key goal. I had mentioned already nurturing a sense of digital responsibility and citizenship, and then preparing kids for success after high school. And really that last one being sort of the culminating goal of, as kids walk across the stage and receive a diploma from Avon Grove Charter School or your home district, if that's where your child ends up graduating from, really did we prepare your student to be able to be successful for what lies beyond their high school experience? And I know that we have 5th and 6th, or really 4th and 5th grade parents tonight, and that seems like a very long way away, but it does creep up quickly. So with these devices, a lot goes into the teacher training too. So we're working with teachers on trying to shift from the idea of teaching content to creating content, for our students to not necessarily be passive consumers of information, but being able to take on information and be able to apply it and analyze it or create new content. What you see on the screen right now is Bloom's taxonomy, and it's a hierarchy of thinking. And we want students to spend more of their time up in the top portions of this pyramid, rather than just simple recall facts. And this is a quote I like, and I think it really does speak to the theme of this initiative. And it says, "Because knowledge is available on every internet connected device, what you know matters far less than what you can do with what you know." And that, I think, really speaks to this program, that being able to take information, consume information, and then do something with it is much more important than just being able to regurgitate out facts, dates, fill in bubbles on standardized tests. The key is really being able to take information and being able to do something with it, to be able to innovate, to be able to problem solve, to be able to demonstrate creativity, or critical thinking or collaboration with a student's peers. Those are much more valuable skills and skills that you're able to translate across different content areas and different scenarios than simply being able to regurgitate back, what year did the Revolutionary War start? There's a lot more to learning than just being able to regurgitate facts. That kind of links into some new pedagogical theories in education that really revolve around something called the 4 C's. And we talk about this a lot with students. And it's being able to have students communicate and share their thoughts. And that's not just verbally. It's written communication. It's collaborating in a digital format, with one peer, with multiple peers, with adults, being able to ask good questions and solve problems, being able to be collaborative, being able to think critically, and not just think outside the box, but also think innovatively inside the box, and then be creative. Think of new approaches of ways to get things done. There's multiple ways to solve math problems. There's not just one way. And being able to be creative about approaches that you take towards problem solving is a valuable skill to learn. So if anyone's a Spider-Man fan, I love this meme. I guess it would be considered a meme. And it's an important theme that we've been talking to a lot of our students about as we've been surveying them and having focus groups with them. And it's with great power comes great responsibility. I mentioned before that probably the worst thing that we can do is provide students with these devices and not teach them how to use it, not teach them how to be safe with it, not teach them how to care for it. Because really what we're doing is trusting students with a lot of power, and a lot of like hardware. Really, we're giving them a computer and expecting them to be responsible for it, especially at a young age in 5th and 6th grade. So a lot of this is going to be on the backs of our staff and our administration, and really all of you as parents, in a collaborative effort and a partnership to make sure that our students are leveraging these devices for the educational intention that they're supposed to be used for, and be safe on it. And I'm going to talk about security measures that the school's taking to make sure that kids are safe later on in the presentation. As I've been presenting to the school board and have been talking to some parents about this, I often get asked the question of why are we going with Chromebooks? Basically, over the last couple years, the State Road campus, even before I had come to the school, went under some drastic physical changes. The school lost library space, has lost computer lab space due to an increasing student population and the need for classroom space. So over the years, the school had shifted from a physical computer lab model to more of a mobile technology model with device carts in and around the campus and across different grade levels. So really, and Chromebooks were the device that the school had chose to start out using. So basically, we're looking to continue our current investment. The Chromebook devices are cost effective. They're fast. They're a web OS operating system, so there's no hard drive to boot up. So they boot up extremely quickly. They're very light, and they're made for student use. So Google has started to design and create Chromebooks for school and student use in mind. So they're durable. The models that we're going to be using have rubberized edges all around the computer. So if students drop them, there's some impact that it can absorb. The keyboards are sealed, so if you spill something on the keyboard, it doesn't ruin the inner workings of and the parts of the computer. So they're built for student use. There's also added security and restrictions that I'm going to be talking about a little bit later that the school can implement to make sure that students are safe. Chromebooks also have the ability to have an offline mode. So if a student is somewhere, just like a Windows or a Mac-based computer, you don't necessarily need the internet, even though it's a web browser based operating system. It's a web operating system. You don't need the internet to be able to utilize the Google Apps for Education and other applications. The school is already a Google Apps for Education school. Students have, protected Google accounts. They utilize Google Docs. They have Google Drives. So the Google Chromebooks are sort of a seamless integration to the Google Apps for Ed environment that the school has already implemented. I had mentioned that the Chrome OS system is a web-based system, and this year Google will also be rolling out the use of the Google Play Store. So if you have a Samsung or a Google-based phone, you go into your Play Store to download applications onto your phone or your tablet. That Play Store is going to be coming to Chromebooks this year. So it's going to increase the amount of applications available to our teachers to use in class and for our students to leverage in their work. And what we've been finding over really the last 2 years is most applications that we use in school, industry-based applications. This is really mainly for high school students, but it's important for parents to know, is that most of them are moving to cloud-based platforms. So I always use the example of AutoCAD. AutoCAD is a pretty robust software application that you can't load on Chromebooks. However, AutoCAD has come out with a cloud-based alternative platform called Tinkercad. So students can still complete and do and play in a 3D modeling application without needing to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a Windows or a Mac computer to be able to install AutoCAD. And we've been seeing that with a lot of applications. AutoCAD, the Adobe creative software, Photoshop, Illustrator, some things that students use in their upper grade levels, but it is applicable for our lower grades as well. So a 50,000 foot high overview can kind of be summed up on this slide. I'm going to kind of get into the details, but basically next year, for our next year 5th and 6th graders, so this year 4th and 5th, each homeroom is going to will be having a charging cart with Chromebooks for their homeroom students. Students are going to be assigned a specific device, and they will pick that up in the morning in their homeroom, and they will travel throughout the day with it, and be able to use it in their classes. And then they will return the Chromebook to their homeroom at the end of the day. The goal in 2018-19 would be to add the ability for our 5th and 6th graders to take home the devices as well. Next year, we're going to spend a lot of time with 5th and 6th graders on what I'm going to be talking about in a little while, on digital citizenship and care for the devices. So we want to kind of use a year to roll this out, to prepare our students, to educate them, to educate our teachers in the elementary grade levels, and then add that. And our goal, again, is to add that take-home option to the program in 2018-19. Next year, starting in 7th grade, students would be, again, issued an individual laptop, but they would be able to take it home and use it in school. So next year's 6th graders in 2018-19, the following year, they would be in 7th grade, and they would be in that take-home program anyways. It would be next year's 5th graders. The following year, we want to extend to them the option of being able to take it home when they're in 6th grade. And a lot of that goal is going to have to deal with how we evaluate next year's 4th and 5th graders in their responsibility to be able to take home these devices. The devices that we're looking at, when I post this presentation on the website, all of these model numbers are all links to the manufacturer's websites, so you'll be able to click on it and go to their websites. But if you want to Google it real quick while you're watching, you're more than welcome. But next year in grade 5, all 5th grade students are going to receive a brand new device, fresh out of the box. We're going to be utilizing the Dell 3180, which is an update to the Dell 3120 that you see 6th through 8th and 10th graders are going to be receiving. And really what the key here is that these devices are being assigned at sort of entry point grade levels. So next year, all of our 5th graders are going to get a brand new device. And then when they go to 6th grade, they're going to take that device with them. And then when they go to 7th grade, they're going to take that device with them. And then when they go to 8th grade, they're going to take that device with them. Then when they go to 9th grade, they're going to get a brand new computer again. And then they're going to keep that computer from 9th grade through 12th grade. So it's kind of a cycling out of the devices and an assigning to the students. Next year, our 6th graders are going to be receiving Dell 3120s that are currently in our stock. All of these devices we just purchased at the beginning of this year. So our technology department is going to be inventorying and assessing every one of our Chromebooks over the summer, and anything that is not in factory condition is not going to be given to students. So they're going to assess the screens, the casing, the trackpads, the keys, everything, so that students basically would not know the difference between one that was being given to a fifth grader or being given to a sixth grader. Anything that is not, again, as if it was just coming out of the box, is not going to be given to students and is going to be repurposed in a different way. I know, again, this is a little bit far off, but just as an FYI, in ninth grade, we're going to be piloting a new model next year with our ninth graders, which is the Dell 3189. And this computer is really cool in that it has a 360-degree hinge on it. So basically, you can turn the screen all the way around, and it turns into a tablet for the kids. So our ninth graders will have a device that it can be in an orientation that's like a regular computer, or can be kind of turned around and turned into a tablet, so that if they're reading something, if they're reading an article, if they're reading a copy of their digital textbook on their computer, they can do it in a tablet mode rather than having to read in a regular computer-based sort of orientation. With the rollout of these devices and the devices being individually assigned to students and students being able to take it home, we spent the year looking at extended sort of protection plans and warranties for the computers. We looked at a couple different insurers, and when all was said and done, because we're a small school, we know our parents, we know the kids. We have a very strong technology department. We went the route for the first year to sort of act as a self-insurer, and I'll kind of explain why in another slide. But to be able to accomplish this program and roll these out and get to a point where we're able to have the infrastructure to be able to do this, starting next year, the school's going to be implementing a nominal technology fee to act as accidental damage and repair insurance for the devices. So if a student breaks the keys, if a student accidentally breaks the screen, this technology fee is sort of acting as a premium for insurance on the devices. These costs were based on the average cost projections for IT shared expenses on repairs, the fair market value of the devices, IT and infrastructure support needs. And for 5th and 6th grade next year, the students would be assigned if you're a free lunch student. So if you participate in the National School Lunch Program based on your family's socioeconomic status, if you're a free lunch student, the fee would be waived. However, the student and the family would be responsible for any repair costs if the damage to the device was found to be because of negligent care or loss or theft. And I'm going to get into that in a couple minutes. If you're a reduced lunch student, so if you receive a school lunch on a reduced rate, your technology fee would be $5. This is the proportional rate for the federal National School Lunch Program. And all other students would pay a $35 technology fee. And again, this would cover the student's device from an insurance standpoint for accidental damage and minor repair needs. And then the school, if you're a family who has multiple students across multiple grade levels that would be participating in this program, the school is going to be implementing a fee cap of $125 per family. So if you have a middle schooler and if you have 2 middle schoolers and a high schooler and an elementary kid going into 5th grade, we have a lot of large families at the school. We don't want this program to be in any way a financial hardship for any of our families. The school's excited about the program. The teachers are excited about the program. The kids that we've talked to are excited about the program. We don't want this to be a stressful thing for families. So we want to be able to cap that technology fee at $125. But also, I'm going to talk in a couple minutes about some financial hardship request options that we will work with families who may be struggling to pay this fee on an individual basis. Because again, this whole program is to increase the engagement of our students and increase the effectiveness of our instruction and make learning more fun and provide students opportunities that they may not have had before. And we don't want the fee, the insurance fee here, to get in the way of that. So I'm going to be talking about that in a couple minutes. But just as a comparison, based on the research that I've done on Chester County schools, some Delaware and some Montgomery County schools, on the slide here is other major school districts in and around Chester County that have one-to-one program initiatives. The only one that I was able to find that had a published one-to-one program initiative for 5th and 6th graders was Great Valley. Most of the other programs started in middle school or started in high school. But I provided this slide just as a comparison on some of the fee structures to some of districts that you may live in or districts around Chester County. So, for example, Avon Grove School District currently has a Chromebook program. It's only in grades 7 and 8, and they assess a $50 technology fee. If you jump down to Oxford, Oxford has an iPad program at their high school. They charge a $30 yearly technology fee. However, there's also then a $50 deductible anytime there is a repair need. So not only are you paying $30 every year to just be able to have the device, anytime something breaks, you have to pay $50 to get it fixed. And that's what we were seeing with a lot of the insurance plans that we were requesting information from. It was a premium and deductible plans for these devices. And we thought that was going to be too much for families to be able to have to assess a yearly premium and then also a deductible anytime something broke. Again, we're a small school. We anticipate and hope for a small claims year. Our technology department's a very strong group of people that believe that they can assess and fix these devices in a much faster time turnaround than having to send devices to the insurers to be fixed. Octorara, another example, is an iPad program where there was a $30 yearly fee plus a $50 repair deductible. Garnet Valley, another example where there's a fee and a repair deductible. And our goal is that these fees are as low as we can make them. So we are going to be looking every spring at our claims and the amount of repairs that needed to be done throughout the year. And if we can drop that fee in the elementary grades from 35 to 25, we're going to do that. If we can drop the fees from $50 in the upper school to $40 because we have a low claims year and we're seeing trends that kids are being responsible and they're not breaking them, we're going to do that. And as us acting as our sort of self-insurers of the device, we have more control over being able to manipulate that technology fee from year to year based on our students and the history of the program. So we opted for more local control rather than enrolling all these devices in a premium and deductible based insurance program. So when and this has already been posted, but as you go through the process of completing sort of the paperwork for this program, there's going to be 3 options basically as a family that you can elect. The first one, and this is the one I would encourage the most because I'm going to share what some of the typical repair costs are, is to pay the yearly technology fee, and then your student would be covered under basic accidental damage and minor repairs. Things break, we fix it. If the damage is found to be due to negligent care, loss, or theft, that would be an instance where the repairs would not be covered under the technology fee. So I got asked in the last session, well, what would be an example of negligent care? Student comes in and says that their computer's broken, and we ask what happened, and they said they were angry and threw their book bag across the room, and their computer was in it. Well, that's kind of negligent care. Student had their device out over the summer and was out on their deck and accidentally left their computer on their deck in the hot sun all afternoon, and the sun baked the computer. That's negligent care. Option 2 would be that you as a family, and we wanted to give this option, can choose not to pay the yearly technology fee, but then would assume all responsibility of repairs and or replacement of the devices and equipment. Some parents may want to look in to see whether or not it's more cost effective for them to insure the device on their own homeowner's insurance plan. Some homeowners insurance plans offer that, so we wanted to give that. Some parents may want to just roll the dice and think that their child's never going to break it and take that chance. Again, I wouldn't necessarily enroll in option 2, but we wanted to give it as an option to parents. And the third option would be that students have the ability to waive participating in the Chromebook program if they already have their own personal device, whether it's a computer or a tablet, and enroll in the school's bring your own device policy. So basically, in lieu of us issuing your student a Chromebook and you paying the technology fee, we would ask that your student brings with them a device that you already own or might have already bought for them. We see this more often in the high school. Parents have already bought a student a computer. They don't want to be given another one. They would rather their student just bring in the computer that's already theirs. So we wanted to give that option. The school wouldn't repair any damage to personally owned devices, but we would provide students network access so that they can use their devices in their classes and during the school day. Everything that the teachers would utilize and do, students who have the Chromebooks or students who bring their own devices, access to the applications and the Google Apps for Ed and the things that teachers use are transferable between different devices. So again, the technology fee would cover the accidental damage and repair. It's also helping with some IT staffing and sort of the volume of repairs that we're anticipating and infrastructure needs. What it doesn't cover, again, is a damage due to negligence, intentional damage or vandalism, loss, or theft. We are always going to err on the side of that damage is accidental and that it's covered under that technology fee and insurance umbrella. So if we are always going to assume the best situation. But there are instances where our IT staff or our administration investigating broken computers or repair requests may uncover that the damage was intentional or negligence or due to negligence, and that's those repairs when the fee wouldn't be covered, and we sort of assessing a repair bill directly to the families. Why I said, again, I wouldn't enroll in option 2 and would pay the technology fee is on the slide here, you're going to see what some of the typical repair parts. This is just parts. We're not charging labor or anything like that. This would be just the cost of parts for these computers if things break. So if we need to replace a screen, you're typically looking between $60 and $80, more on the 60 side for the non-touch screens and 80 for the touch-based screens. So right there, if a student breaks a screen, that repair cost is more than what the technology fee is for the year. If the mouse pad breaks, it's about $40 to get a new mouse pad. Um, if the keyboard needs replacement, these keyboards are sealed. So if we need a whole keyboard replacement, it's about $70. So again, I encourage families to enroll in that first option and pay that technology fee so that they're covered for the accidental damage. Because in reality, some of the most common repairs that we see needed on the devices right now, the parts alone cost more than what we were asking in terms of that cost sharing for the devices and the technology fee. Next year, with the devices, grades 5 and 6 will also be equipped with protective casing for the Chromebooks. These protective cases are almost made out of Kevlar. You can almost take a hammer to it, and you won't damage the devices. So the school is providing that with the distribution of the device as added protection for the computers. I had mentioned that on the website there is a financial hardship request form that families can fill out. If you fill this form out, all of the information submitted is going to be held with the utmost confidentiality. Again, we want to see this program come to fruition and see it be an exciting opportunity for our students, and we don't want the technology fees to be a hindrance or a stressor or a point of anxiety for our families. So if a family is in a situation where at the beginning of the school year or over the summer they're not able to financially pay the technology fee, we want to work with those families to delay payment, break up the payment over time. If we're in a situation where we need to waive the payment for a year, we want to work with individual families on a case-by-case basis as well as we can. My goal is that next week, these fee amounts are going to be loaded into our school cafe system, so that parents will be able to see via parent portal and their school cafe account. If you load student lunch money onto a school cafe account, you'll be able to see this technology fee available, and you will be able to start paying that whenever you see fit. If you pay over the school cafe, you can break up the payments over time if you'd like, or you can still send check or money order into the school, just like field trips. We just ask that your student's name, ID number, and that the purpose of the check or money order is explained on it, so that we make sure that it gets allocated to the correct fee. As a small school, we also have a small business office. So we're going to be rolling out our policy on refunds is that the school's not going to issue refunds for the technology fee once it's been paid. So if you are a family right now that is on the fence of whether or not you may have your child return for the next school year, wait to pay the technology fee. You can pay it the first day of school when you drop your student off. I would err on the side of delaying that payment if you are on the fence of your child's school enrollment for next year, and pay it when you've made that final decision. Because again, once that's paid, if a student withdraws, or if a student has their computer privileges suspended due to inappropriate use or disciplinary action, we're not going to be issuing refunds for these yearly technology fees. I had mentioned earlier of some added security and content filtering that we're going to be rolling out for next year. So we're going to be having 2 different services and programs monitoring student usage. The first is software called Gaggle. We currently use this, and we're going to be adding the use of Securely to our network and to the devices next year. Basically, in a nutshell, what this does is it locks down the student-issued Chromebooks to their agcharter.org or .net domain account. So students won't be able to log into these devices with a personal Gmail account or any other Google account. It's specifically assigned and locked down to their student accounts. These services scrub through student Google accounts and their Drive documents and their emails to make sure that kids are being appropriate, that they're not using foul language or trying to send inappropriate images to one another, or trying to share things that they shouldn't be sharing with other students. As just as another FYI piece of information, the student Google account domains are locked down to the agcharter.org and .net email accounts. So students can't receive email from outside domains, nor can they send emails to outside domains. We don't have a white list of acceptable domains. They can only send emails to and receive from the agcharter.org or .net domain. One of the really cool features of Securely is that this service extends our SIPA compliant web filtering outside of the AGCS network. So basically, when a student takes the device home, or if a student takes a device to McDonald's or Starbucks, the SIPA compliant web filtering that blocks websites, SIPA, the Child Internet Protection Act. So the web filtering that we have at the school that blocks student access to inappropriate content extends outside of our school network. The web filtering follows the device, not devices only accessing the internet at school. So it's an added layer of security so that if and when students take it home or access the internet outside of our AGCS network, they are still protected and they still receive SIPA compliant web filtering. Securely also offers parents the ability to access reports of their individual students' internet and web access and activity. So you as a parent, when the students receive these devices, you as a parent can receive a report of everything that your student does on their device, what websites they go to, what they access, so that you have a little bit you have more knowledge and an additional tool as a parent to be able to monitor what your students are doing on the devices and to ensure that they're being safe on them. All of the devices' cameras and webcams are also disabled, so students will not be able to utilize the camera or the webcam. I know that's probably every parent's fear, but we have the school will be disabling this device, this portion of the computer, so that students will not be able to utilize them. The computers also have geolocation ability, so that if a device is stolen, we can work with the local and state police to try to geolocate the device. And then throughout the campus, in 5th and 6th grade classrooms, each classroom will have a charging cart. And then throughout the campus, there's going to be communal charging carts that students will be able to utilize. This is more for middle school and high school, but students will be able to sort of charge their devices while they're at lunch, or they're in a study hall if you're an upper school student. But leaving your computer in these devices is sort of at the student's own risk. We're not going to have staff members sitting and monitoring these charging stations. They really are communal. There will be Chromebook locks available in the school store that we encourage that we're going to encourage students to buy if they're planning on utilizing any of these communal charging stations. I had mentioned earlier in the presentation that again, I think the worst thing that we can do is give students these devices and not teach them how to use them safely. So next year we are going to, in a partnership with Common Sense Media, which is a great resource for parents. If you've never checked out Common Sense Media, I really do encourage you while we're sitting here to Google it and check out the website. It's a great company that provides a lot of resources to parents. But in a partnership with Common Sense Media, we're going to be rolling out a digital citizenship curriculum in grades K through 12 next year. That's going to focus on 8 basic threads of digital citizenship, things like internet safety, teaching students about self-image and identity on the internet, information literacy, how to identify fake news, what cyberbullying is, what copyright is. A lot of students struggle with plagiarism and copyright, privacy and security, what your digital footprint and reputation is like once you put things out on social media and on the internet. So we're going to be working K through 12 next year on integrating digital citizen lessons to be able to prepare students to be responsible users of both the internet, digital resources, and the devices. For our 6th grade, or this year's 5th grade and next year's 6th graders, students and parents are also going to see the start of a multi-year rollout of a learning management system. We're going to be utilizing this learning management system in grades 6 through 12. We looked at a number of vendors over this year and landed on contracting with the company called Schoology. Schoology is an LMS system that's used by a number of Chester County schools. It's also endorsed by the Chester County Intermediate Unit. So it's a great company and a great program that our teachers are going to start to be using with students next year on again, a multi-year rollout. Basically, this LMS system is going to be able to provide sort of a digital extension to our schools' classrooms. Teachers are going to start to build and develop digital repositories of content. They're going to be able to post assignments to be able to access in this system. This system is going to replace some of our teacher websites in our upper school. So I always see get emails and see on the parents forum, parents asking about, does anybody know what the spelling words were tonight? Or does anybody can they send me a picture of the math worksheet? My son or daughter forgot it in school. So our teachers are going to be working at sort of building this digital repository of their worksheets, of their handouts, of their homework assignments, of the things that they're doing in class, of readings and passages that they're utilizing in class, so that students also have access to it and parents have access to it in a digital format. You can also assess student learning through this platform. There's the ability to cultivate collaboration. We see in the high school and the middle school a lot. Discussions are oftentimes interrupted by the change of the period bells. So our LMS platform is going to be able to allow those conversations and those discussions to continue for homework, to continue on an ad hoc basis among students in a digital format, and not have to wait till the next day or wait till the next cycle when we have this class again. Parents are going to receive information about this in the fall. This does come with it parent accounts where you're able to access everything that your student is able to access. So you're able to have equal access that students have in terms of viewing content, accessing teachers' resources, and really being able to help your students in preparing them for their next day, or collaborating with them on what they're learning. I always look at this as being able to be a tool where if you're sitting at the dinner table, the question's no longer what did you learn today, but you're able to know that going into dinner and really have a constructive conversation with your kids about their school day. Because oftentimes you just get the oh, nothing. So being able to have access to what our teachers are doing, elements of our curriculum. Our goal is to make our parents stronger partners, and sort of that circle around your children. In a nutshell, really all you need to know about the LMS system for next school year is that you're going to start to see 6th through 12th grade teachers beginning to use it, but creating content and building this integration with what's happening in the class and this platform is going to take time. This is going to be sort of a multi-year buildup of these courses. And in the fall, once parents receive information about login information and registering, parents should still utilize PowerSchool and Parent Portal for grade information. So your Parent Portal and PowerSchool is still always going to be the grade book of record to be able to view whether it's standards-based report cards or the general sort of A through F report card of an assignment breakdown. We want you to still point you back to the Parent Portal. Once students have the option to take home the devices, so we're looking at 7th through 11th grade next year, but in the following year, adding that 5th and 6th grade levels to this program, students will be able to keep their devices over the summer, but looking at next year, 5th and 6th graders, because they're not going to be enrolled in that take-home option, not something that they're going to be able to do that first year. And I'd be remiss if I didn't add this in and stress that the hardware and the equipment and the accessories are still the property of Avon Grove Charter School. So even though we're individually assigning a device to your child, the device is still the property of the school. And we expect that back when a student withdraws, is expelled, or is outplaced from Avon Grove Charter School. If the devices and the accessories and everything that's been given to the students is not returned within 3 days of a student's withdrawal, so really our expectation is when a parent drops off their withdrawal paperwork that they should probably do it with the devices, just like you should like we ask for your textbooks back. We're asking for these devices back. If we don't receive them in a timely manner, we're going to consider them stolen and take proper action to recoup those devices. At the end of again, a long way away, but at the end of a student's 12th grade year, as long as they've paid the technology fee for all of the years they participated in this program, students are going to be able to buy out and purchase the device upon basically graduation for the fair market value of the devices. So your students will be able to, in some cases, you may be able to buy the device and it's still in great condition so that your student can go away to their freshman year of college or enter the workforce with this device already in hand. So we're looking, and this is an ambitious plan that we know is ambitious, but we have to set some type of lofty goal, is to distribute the devices during the first 2 weeks of school via students' homerooms. So again, lofty goal. We realize that there are going to be parents that we're going to have to be hunting down probably throughout the month of September and communicating with them about this technology fee and the need to pay for this, to pay that fee in order for the students to be able to travel around with their devices. And really that's it. It's insurance on the devices for the kids. And then for our 7th through 12th grade, we're going to be doing a rollout with our technology department specifically. But before any equipment can be distributed in that month of December, we need parents to attend one of these sessions or watch the recording. I appreciate everybody's attendance today. I always think it's better to attend live because you're going to be able to ask some questions here. Review the one-to-one program handbook that is posted on the website, and complete the parent acknowledgement form paperwork. This is digital and it's on the website already, so you can go in and start to complete that I want to say paperwork, but it's not really paper. It's a digital form you can complete. and then pay that yearly technology fee. So our goal is that that students aren't going to be able to sort of take these devices with them unless that technology fee has been paid, so that they are insured, or a parent has elected to not pay and assume responsibility for the devices. So we're looking for that technology fee declaration to be completed before we give students the devices. So that is the end of sort of the formal slides I have tonight. I am going to be developing an expanded Q&A help document for parents. I've come up with a document already, but I think that I can only think of so many questions and that you may have as a parent. So I'm going to stick around for a little while here and open up. If anybody has any questions, feel free to type them into the chat box, and I will stick around and answer them. If not, and if you do have questions after tonight's presentation, if you can use the Q&A form that's posted on the school's website, I'm taking all questions and sort of developing this larger help document for parents. I'll respond directly back to you to answer your question, but then I can use that question to develop that larger resource for parents. So again, if you don't have any questions, I appreciate your time tonight. I hope that this was much more convenient for you than having to hold a session in the auditorium and people have to drive down and miss dinner time or miss bedtime, and that you were comfortable at home and that this was more convenient. I'm going to be sending out some surveys at the end of the school year on your feedback on this format, and if parents liked this format, we can try to do this a little more often for sessions where it's more of an informational session than it is something that's necessarily interactive and we would need to be face-to-face for. So again, I appreciate your time. I hope it was convenient and informative. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. You're more than welcome to use the form. Or if you don't have any questions, feel free to jump off. That really does conclude the formal presentation for this evening. So thank you. No problem. Again, I wanted to take a risk. We encourage our teachers to take risks and integrate technology. So I thought that I haven't done one of these for a while, so I thought I would take a stab at it again. And I feel like it worked out, but again, gonna get some feedback from parents on it. So appreciate the positivity on it. Absolutely. Thank you for coming tonight. As I kind of wait for more questions to come through, I'll reiterate, the school is really excited for this opportunity. We're a small school with a small budget, so to be able to think outside the box and develop plans to be able to have every 5th through 12th grader have their own computer in a fiscally responsible way for our school was a real undertaking, and we're really excited for it. The kids that we've been talking to are excited for it. I understand that it can be a point of anxiety for parents, but we're really all in this together, and we're trying to take these measures to be able to make sure the kids are safe and using the devices appropriately. So question, what's the deadline for completing the forms and paying the fees? As this is to roll out next year. So we were looking, Ms. Butler, for the beginning of next school year. So if you can have it done, when your students are rolling back to school, that would be perfect. The only reason that, and really, Ms. Butler, you can complete the paperwork and the forms without paying the fee. So if you want to go in and complete the paperwork side of things, just so that we have a sort of a declaration of you're planning on paying the technology fee, we're gonna load all those fees into PowerSchool, but you don't necessarily have to pay that until your son or daughter's coming ready to go to school. I'm loading them early so that parents have the option over the summer. If, in June or July, family has an extra $35 and they want to pay it then, that they can pay it then and get that out of the way rather than, trying to put it away and then end up spending it on something else. So the option to pay early is available to you, but you don't have to pay the technology fee until the start of the school year. And again, just to reiterate, if you're on the fence about enrollment for next year, I highly advise you to hold off on paying the technology fee until you've made that final decision. Yeah. Oh, great question. Great question. So the goal of this program is not to have kids in front of computers all day long. I hate walking through the hallway and seeing students sort of all staring at computers. We're working on training teachers to leverage the devices for students' educational use and not as a supplement to their instruction in the classroom, and to complement it, but not replace it. So we're not building online courses. We're not an online school. We don't want kids on computers all day long. That's what cyber school is for. So our goal, Ms. Whipple, is really to augment the student's educational experience with the devices, but not replace things that happen in the classroom. There's no substitute for the teacher and for the strong pedagogy that they have as instructors. Our goal really is to look at these as being supplemental tools and not replacement of anything. So I think that the goal would, again, is to, with the goal in mind of it being a supplement, my hope is that that restrictions and sort of class time restriction on screens isn't hopefully going to be necessary, that we don't have to go to that extreme of saying to teachers, limit them to this, and that our teachers are utilizing the devices in a responsible and appropriate way to integrate it into a student's learning experience, but that the computer itself is not the learning experience, if that makes sense. Ms. Banya, I would touch base with your student's special education teacher. Most of I mean, in terms of, as an LEA, most of the time, accommodations that we see for that I've seen is actually the ability to utilize the devices in class, is providing students the option to type assignments rather than handwrite things. So if you have a concern or have questions about how your child who may have a specific learning disability or executive functioning delays might need help with this, absolutely reach out to your special education teacher. And we all can kind of have that conversation of what this looks like for your son or daughter. But again, our goal is that these devices kind of like are viewed as a pencil. It's a tool for the classroom, not to be a replacement for good instruction. So I would absolutely reach out to we have 5th and 6th grade. So absolutely reach out to either your teacher now or the teacher for next year when you get that information. 5th grade is Miss Culler and 6th grade is Miss Bramble. As we're transitioning grade levels, we can make sure that conversation is had to make sure we have a full understanding of your son or daughter's needs and how the integration of this device can benefit their educational program and not be seen as sort of another barrier to overcome. Not a problem. All right. I see a couple people are still viewing. So if there are any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. Otherwise, I am going to give another minute or two before closing down the session. If you don't have any questions, you are free to jump off. And again, I appreciate your attendance this evening. All right, I don't see any other. You do the same, Ms. Butler. Thank you very much. I don't see any other questions coming through, so I am going to stop the broadcast. Please feel free to email me any questions that you might have, or utilize that Q&A help document that is posted on the website. You're going to be getting more information from me over the next couple weeks regarding the program and reminders about the paperwork options and where all this information is located on the website. So more information to come. Okay, go ahead. That's a great question. So I think that in terms of the device replacing school supplies, in all honesty, I don't think that it's going to have a huge impact on on next year. I think that our teachers are going to have to kind of work through that first year to see, okay, now that my students have these devices, what can the device replace in terms of school supplies that might have been requested, or things that we put on our class lists that we believe students need to be prepared for the new school year. So a great example is a 3-ring binder, right? So teachers sometimes ask kids to have a 3-ring binder for every one of their classes. Well, if a student has an individually assigned device and the majority of the work they do is going to be typed, and they can utilize their Google Drive to store all their documents and things, do they need a 3-ring binder for every class? Probably not. Some of that is also how the students sort of self evaluate their own usage of the devices. So I would say in the first year, probably not, but that's one of those goals of as we're able to leverage the device. We're hoping to reduce copies. We're hoping that it does have an effect on what we're asking students to come prepared for at the beginning of the year. And in all honesty, the teachers are not going to like that I say this, but back to school shopping is always a fun time of the year, right? But I would be cautious, and I tell this to a lot of parents: be cautious in August what you buy. Let your students come to school with what you know as a parent are the basic necessities to be able to be prepared for the classroom, and then start to buy through September based on what your kids say they need as the school year starts to get rolling. Because I would hate, and as a parent, right, to get a list of all of these things that we are said that we're going to need, and then find out later on that my kid never used the pair of scissors that I bought them, because there were 30 pairs of scissors in the classroom to begin with. So I would always err on the side of buy your students, buy your children what you as a parent believe, is the necessity for them to be able to be productive. And then when they come home during September and they're saying, and they communicate with you, hey, I need this now, I would then go and get it then, rather than buying all this extra stuff that there's the potential of not needing. I'm a little bit of a minimalist, so it's easy for me to say that, but I would err on the side of being a minimalist during that back to school time. But the goal would be that these devices do have an impact, but I don't think the teachers are going to be able to assess what that impact could be until they spend a year or so utilizing them and seeing how it's leveraged in their classroom. If you have a Windows-based computer and you want the student to utilize that in the bring your own device program, that is perfectly okay. Windows or Mac, because the Chromebooks utilize the Chrome OS, it's basically a web browser operating system. So as long as on your Windows-based device, your student would install the Chrome web browser, they would be able to access and utilize everything that the students who are issued Chromebooks have access to. So if you have a Windows-based computer and you want to utilize the Bring Your Own Device program, there's nothing that your child would not have access to that other kids would that participate in the Chromebook program. And that goes for an iPad too, or a tablet. You may want to, if you're going that route with a tablet-based computer, is to get your students sort of an insert with a external keyboard, because if they're going to be typing on a tablet all the time, that might be hard without an actual external keyboard. And they sell those cases that you can slip your tablets into and come with a Bluetooth keyboard that kids can utilize. All right, couple more viewers. Any other questions before I shut the broadcast down? All right, well, I am going to shut this down. Thank you very much for attending this evening. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me over the upcoming weeks and into the summer break. Thank you very much and have a great night.